This lesson discusses using external mail libraries. The topics include: what is an external mail library? Why would you want to use them? Do you have to pay to use them? What are some of the better known libraries? Are there any disadvantages? How do you set up PHP Mailer? And how do you send an email using an external mail library? First of all, having a look at some of the more popular external mail libraries, we see there's one called PHP Mailer. This is a library of code written in PHP, which can be downloaded and put into the include path on your local PHP installation. PHP Mailer is one of the more popular mail libraries. The reason why you would want to use an external mail library is to facilitate some of the more advanced features of working with email in PHP. The mail libraries include such features as adding multiple recipients, CC, carbon copy, BCC, blind carbon copy, reply to, using SMTP servers, multi-part emails, HTML email, different types of encoding, native language support, word wrapping, and many, many, many more features. Another very popular package is SwiftMailer. SwiftMailer can be located at the website swiftmailer.org. Various PHP frameworks, such as Zend Framework, will also typically offer libraries which facilitate email. In this case, we're looking at a class called ZendMail. As you can see, much like PHP Mailer, it offers the options of sending through SMTP, HTML email, handling attachments, different character sets, and that sort of thing. We also have some packages which are available on the Pair website. However, you'll notice that in many cases, the maintenance is no longer available for these packages. So as you can see, Mail IMAP v2, Mail Mbox, etc. are no longer maintained. So for this reason, we recommend some of the more actively maintained packages. In this case, we are going to focus on PHP Mailer. The way to install PHP Mailer is to go to the website github.com/synchro/PHP Mailer. Notice that we have an uppercase S and an uppercase PHPM in PHP Mailer. We select zip, which then lets us download the entire source code for PHP Mailer. This is now in the form of a zip file. We can then take the zip file and put it into our XAMPP installation. So we go ahead and open this up. We're now looking at the Windows Explorer. We are looking at the zip file for PHP Mailer. So we take the folder, we copy it, and place it in an appropriate place within our directory structure. One possibility is to put it under the XAMPP structure. Under the XAMPP structure, under PHP, there's a folder called Pair. Pair is where most of the PHP external libraries will reside. So if you wish to have PHP Mailer permanently available for all applications running on this website, you would want to put the PHP Mailer folder under Pair. When you do your include, make sure you mention the name of the folder followed by the initial class to include. We'll demonstrate this in code very shortly. Another alternative is to put the code directly into the folder which contains your specific application. So in this case, we could take our working files, chapter 13, create a new folder, and place the PHP Mailer inside that particular folder. It might be a good idea to rename the folder to make referring to it later on much easier. So we're going to change the name now to simply PHP Mailer, and we will then make use of this in our sample code. If you take a quick look at the PHP Mailer installation, you'll notice that we've got the primary class, class.phpmailer.php. We also have some examples. So if you look under the examples folder, you'll see that there are a number of examples which demonstrate various techniques of sending mail using PHP Mailer including basic and advanced functionality. Looking now at our first code example, the first thing that we want to do is to make sure that the PHP mailer directory is in our include path. This can be done by setting it in the PHP INI file, looking for the include path directive. This would be the case if we want to make sure that PHP mailer is always available to all programs running on the server. If, on the other hand, we only want it available for this particular application, we can put PHP mailer in the folder under the application itself, and then set the include path by first getting the current include path, as on line 10, and then, as on line 11, setting the PHP mailer folder with a path separator in front of the current include path. We then need to require or include the primary class, which is class.phpmailer.php. We are now able to create a PHP mailer object. The next thing that we're going to do is to retrieve the body of the mail message, which in this case, we're going to use the examples under the PHP mailer folder. We indicate where the message is from by using setFrom. That's line 23. Line 26, we use add address to indicate the recipient. If there's more than one recipient, we simply use add address multiple times. Each successive time would insert a comma between the recipients. On line 29, we set the subject. On line 32, an alternate body in case the user doesn't have an HTML client. And on line 35, we use message HTML for HTML. There are other functions which can be used for non-HTML email. Finally, much like PHP mail, we use the send method off of the mail object. Let's go ahead and go to the browser and execute this and have a look at the results. So moving to the working files for this chapter, the first example, we can see the message was sent. If we then move to our output folder, we'll be able to see the result. So moving now to the output folder, you'll notice a very properly encoded mail message with all of the necessary headers and parameters. Again, very easily done using PHP mailer. Just think about the amount of code that would have been required to do this manually using the PHP mail function. Now, having a look at the second code example, if you want to add CC, BCC, and reply to, for example, you just simply say add CC, add BCC, and add reply to, indicating the proper email. If you want to also include the person's name, that would be the second parameter. The first parameter is the email address. The second parameter is the person's proper name. So again, moving back to the browser, let's have a look at the second example. So notice again, message sent. Looking at our output folder, second message, again, very properly formatted. If we now upload these files to a live server, let's have a look at the results. So we go to the Unlikely Source website, running the second example, and then moving over to our live webmail client. We'll refresh, and we can see the two properly formatted email messages, including images. So in review, what is an external mail library? It's a library not included in the core, which needs to be downloaded from various sources, depending on which package you decide to use. Why would you want to use an external mail library? To add features beyond the basic, which makes it very easy to develop applications to send email. Do you have to pay to use external libraries? The libraries that we've looked at are open source and are free of charge. What are some of the better known libraries? PHP Mailer, Swift Mailer, Pair libraries. Various frameworks include mail libraries, including Zen Framework, CodeIgniter, and CakePHP. Are there any disadvantages? The disadvantage is that you need to download the library and make sure that it's in your include path. If you want to make it permanent, enter an entry into the PHP ini file for include path, or put it under pair, which is under PHP. You can also use set include path inside your application if it's a one-time usage. How do you set up PHP Mailer? Download it, unzip it, and make sure that it's in your include path. How do you send an email using an external mail library? You require the primary class, in this case class.phpmailer.php. You create the PHP Mailer object, and then you start executing the appropriate commands off of the mail object, such as set from, add address, etc. This concludes our discussion of using external mail libraries.